red. How's your like Swiftwater knowledge in general? Like, would you say?
Um, I say like a 7 out of 10, but I don't know what's outdated because I haven't played in a while. Swiftwater.
Okay. As far as I understand, the meta on this map has changed quite a bit. So we'll see. This is probably the like I don't want to say most complex, but like one of the least intuitive maps in my opinion. Okay, so first things first, your entrance. So you have two options. You can put your entrance here, and this will have the most people take it, right? But the thing is that you're not going to place your exit on first, right? You're instead going to place your exit up here on second. And the reason for that is that the teams will not, I mean, maybe your team will hold first, and if your team holds first, God help them. But teams do not hold first as a hard point. It's more like a giveaway that they'll juice for time. And so it's ideal to build this teleporter going to apps as part of your strategy to hold second than it is to have a teleporter that goes to first that you're going to blow up anyway. So back to the entrance. You can put it here, and the most players will take it if you put it here. But there is a flaw with this, and that is that it's very easy for Spy to cross through Mansion and take your teleporter entrance. And if that happens, he's in a great position to get stabs if your heavy is not watching the exit. Many heavies will play in this window. It's a good position to kite Ubers coming through the shutter because they can just walk out on the roof and they can watch the teleport at the same time. But if your heavy doesn't do that, he's not like watching the telly, then you could inadvertently give their spy some nice picks. So it's optimal to place the exit over here on last and tell your team about it. And no spy has ever gone back here, as far as I know, to get to the teleporter entrance just to get to apps, right? And it's not really any longer a walk for your team to get here. Thing is, your team will just forget that you told them. Like 8 out of 9 of your players will probably forget. Like maybe 7 out of 9 because you're one of them. So I would you can make your choice. If you're noticing that spy, like your teleport is getting taken and the spy is getting stabs, maybe you want to stop putting it here. If you notice that your teleporter has 0 teleports or like 1 teleport and it was you by the end of your second defense, maybe you want to put it here. But there's pros and cons to each. But in general, that is optimal.
Gotcha.
This is the one map that I would personally recommend Rescue Ranger for defense, and that is for second specifically, and we'll get into that when we talk about second.
Oh, what do you think about putting the entrance in caves and then put your exit in apps as like an escape route? I've seen
Yeah,
that.
so I used to do this. It is a good it's not a bad option. If your team is like hardcore, like we are gonna juice first for all the possible time. If your team's good about that, it kind of becomes a little more useful. But in general, the reason that I don't use this anymore is that it's in general, if you leave in time, like on time, your team is calling to leave. You as the engineer are recognizing that you're going to leave probably first because you have the gun. Then you have time to grab the gun, walk through the tunnel, get up to apps, and place the gun down. Anyway, now that's not always the case. Sometimes, like if your team is holding really hard, like we're gonna keep holding, the card is like here, and we're playing out where you playing our sniper, we're playing our demo to get as much time as we can on first, then it does become dicier because what happens is these gates open as soon as first is capped, and then if a soldier or spy is camping there, then they can catch you off guard as you're replacing your gun. So that can happen, and that's what this teleporter avoids. But very rarely, I would say 1 out of 30 games, you have a chance to be punished for walking back. And even then, if you're like playing with your team or just playing, have good timing, you can avoid being punished as well. So it's not really worth, in my mind, personally, to not have the entrance at spawn to like later have to dedicate time to replacing the entrance, which is easier if you have Eureka effect, but still time. And for that reason, I don't. But if you want to, you can, and no one's going to complain. Just be sure that you blow up your entrance after you take it, because otherwise the spy will take it. After me before. I actually have a clip for you. I'm going to grab it now before I forget, but you can watch it after this review.
Okay. So in today's meta, you're still not trying to hard hold the caves area, right?
That's correct. The some team... Okay. One of my teams once did it. It's very rare. It's unlikely that your team will ever hard hold caves. Instead, what most teams do is they will... So what most teams will do is they will play their sniper really hard to snipe the cart. And if red sniper dies, then your whole team wants to swing out, because now they can swing out without being punished. They can get kills on players on roof. They can get kills on players just kind of running around. And there's no sniper to punish them for it. Your medic might stay inside for just because of like bombs and stuff. But in general, and then once the blue sniper respawns, everyone goes back inside and starts playing sniper again. And that's kind of the core of how First is played, at least at the high level currently. On this map, like the top teams will have their own strategies, but that's the strategy that I recommend for first to teams. So to fit this playstyle, you have a few gun options. First off, lots of engineers will put their gun here, and that is not good, in my opinion. What will happen is their demo and soldier will double bomb out of spawn and blow it up instantly before it does any damage. Seen it 1,000 times. I would not put your gun here under any circumstance, honestly. If you want to deny bombers as they are coming in, you can place it here. This is okay. It's a little aggressive for me because you kind of open yourself up to the sniper peeking on this slope way over there. And in general, you're only really going to deny that initial bomb is what's likely going to happen. After that, they're just going to like... Your demo might stand on roof and throw sticks like here or whatever. But it's a fine position. I would not fault anyone for using this. Personally, I put the gun very passive back here. The reason that it's so passive is that it's much easier to leave. It's much likelier to live for a second, which is the real point that you want to hold for. And you can still deny, like, if a soldier fast bombs into the tunnel trying to go for your med, who is playing safely by your gun, then he just gets blown up. If your gun is here and it blows up, your medic doesn't have as much stuff in tunnel denying shit from getting in. He's kind of all in on his pyro. So this is personally where I would place it. This is also fine if you want to deny bombs. You even go like here to get kind of a best of both worlds scenario. But in general, I would say your top priority is escaping to second with the gun, as your whole team's goal should be escaping to second with their lives. And Dispenser can go like here, or whatever. Whatever works. So let's move on to second. Leave to second, however you choose to do so. You can either walk out the tunnel or take the teleporter. And on second, there's a few options. I imagine one of these plenty of these you've seen before. So this gun here, first off, the dispenser goes like right here on this wall. Keep that up all the time. This is the gun spot I use most often. This is probably the most aggressive gun spot that I would recommend. The reason that it's useful is that it draws all of the attention if they Uber through apps, but it's actually not as endangered as it kind of seems, because you can stand behind this corner and tank it quite effectively. Because the demo is in general, demos are not effective at blowing you up while you're standing here next to the dispenser, especially if your medic like has the time to give you a flash. It can be very nice. And especially many blue teams will just be looking forward at this pyro blasting them back anyway. So this is a pretty good gun, pretty good at getting kills on flanks that are walking through upper, and just as good at dealing with players walking through tunnel. As a curiosity, how did players push second in your experience?
So I don't remember the call outs too much, but out of that gate area.
Yeah, here in Shutter.
Yeah, Shutter.
Okay, so like that's kind of like the end all be all, like exchange through Shutter and then take the post through Shutter as well.
Yeah, and then just of course leave their scout and whatever pushing cart while they do that.
Damn. Okay, so the meta has evolved a bit since then. I'm just gonna remove this other one as well. So I don't know if the players in your division will do this. This is how I would recommend players play this, and this is how I would say most high-level teams do this nowadays. But pushing second is quite dynamic. Because second is such a difficult point to push, like getting through here is hell, right? The demo blows you up, the pyro pushes you back, the heavy shreds you. It's not as effective anymore to just ram your head in through Shutter and hope for the best. So what teams will do instead on blue is they will usually exchange through Shutter, sure, try to get the red Uber out, and then once they exchange, the blue team will just be holding this gate open with their heavy, and then blue team will leave. Blue team will just leave the Shutter, leave the apps, and they'll take their pyro, medic, and demo, leave their heavy in the apps, take their pyro, medic, and demo, and rotate them into tunnel. And so the reason for this is that blue can actually win from the low ground here. And the reason for that is that you have so much space to work with it when you're low on the floor here. While the gun is up, the push is mostly impossible. But once the gun dies via like sniper, spy, and demo, then it's actually quite possible to get through this choke, spread out on the floor, and suffocate these red combo players up in apps and on these like bridges. They're very exposed if they're on the bridge and very contained if they're in the apps. And there's no pack for like red to work with when they're up there. They're just working off their medic. So very, very possible to win. The way this is won is that blue team, once the gun dies, everyone at once will walk through this tunnel, spread it on the floor, and just pressure the players up above them, like contesting them. You can get control of the point overall this way, and then eventually kill the players that are upper. So this actually will work most of the time if you execute it correctly, and red does not respond. So red's response to this, oh, and one other detail is that you'll have your heavy and potentially your soldier push through the Shutter at the same time as your team is pushing through the tunnel to create more pressure for these players in apps, create a new method through which they would die, and just distract from the players that are getting through this choke at the low ground. Very effective strategy. The response from red, at least the prescribed response that solves this offense, is for Red's Pyro, Medic, and Demo to drop down as soon as they know blue combo is in tunnel and play the corner. This corner is a very powerful position because there's not really a good way of blue to attack it. The one way that people can really fight the corner is if their blue sniper goes very deep inside tunnel. And going this deep inside tunnel is virtually impossible if the red scout and soldier have their monitors turned on. So medic will just kind of chill in this corner, keep an eye out for the spy. Pyro will stand here, just kind of defending his demo, and the demo will just lay nukes in this choke and just kind of pressure anyone that's trying to get in. If blue tries to exchange, like they exchanged an upper, and now they've been standing in tunnel so long that they got Uber again, and they try to exchange, Pyro can blast them back and get a way better Uber using their medic, and red demo can nuke in the post. So what blue can do is they can try to fast rotate up through back up to the apps with their demo pyromedic before red team reacts and walks back up to their apps. And then if blue demo and pyro can get through this these apps and kill the heavy and the gun, then they now have apps and they can win second via the red team's own position. In practice, red teams will pretty much always react in time because better spies will, like, they know all this and they'll call it, okay, they're going apps, like they're rotating apps. And then red says, okay, let's, like, demo jumps up and the pyromedic just walk up these stairs and now they're in position again. So red still has the advantage. This is still a very difficult point for blue to push. And especially this strategy that I just outlined is not easy to execute for many teams. A very common reality is the blue demo will walk through and he will be like, okay, I'm through. And he'll turn around and 5 players are giving him the fluoride stare at the back of this tunnel. Very, very common for beginners to this strategy. And I've seen like breakdowns, like total communication breakdowns over this. But it is, I would say, the accepted best way of pushing Swiftwater's second. Anyway, that's just to kind of outline what you might see from a good team. Or, a team being instructed by a high-level mentor. Many teams, you may see teams that just bash their heads through the shutter as they did back then, because sometimes you'll win that way. But, as you probably know, it's not super consistent. So,
what's a second spot I can use? Like, if they destroy my gun and I'm trying to rebuild.
So, let me show you a couple spots that I like on this point before I answer your question.
Okay.
So, like I mentioned, this is like an aggressive gun that I use the most often. But some more standard and probably better spots would be like, here is probably the most popular gun spot for Swiftwater second. It's separate from your combo. It's more difficult for players to attack from apps. And it has great control over the floor. Additionally, you're not super far away from your combo in case the spy comes for you. And you need some support. The downside of playing here is that you kind of open yourself up to sniper when you cross between your gun and the dispenser, where the rescue ranger can come in handy. Another spot, kind of extending this, is here on the platform. This kind of accents, or rather exaggerates, the benefits of using this spot on the bridge, where you're very far away from players in the apps, and you pull, if anyone like looking at you is not doing any damage to your combo whatsoever, which is nice. The bad part is that you're kind of isolated now. If the spy comes mansion, you are pretty much as close to him as you are to your combo. And, if the spy pressures you, you can't just cross willy-nilly because the sniper will pick you off. Rescue ranger can come in handy, but if you're tanking it and the spy comes in and saps it, you're not gonna, it's likely gone because you can't cross and whack it with your wrench as well as you would like. So like you could pull it if you wanted, and that would be fine. But just something to be aware of. Those two spots, the platform and the bridge, are the ones that I see most often. The one other spot that I would recommend is over here on side tunnel. And this is kind of like a mix-up spot, right? I wouldn't go here as a default. The reason that you would go here is to catch them off guard. For example, if your gun dies, but then your team wins the defense and you have downtime, you could potentially walk over here and build a gun, because in their minds, their demo is going to like get ready to push and think, okay, their gun's not here where it was last time. That means there's no gun. He'll do his exchange. He'll walk through, and now your gun is killing everyone on the floor. They can't get any cap time, and just generally good at getting kills all around. Bad thing is you're super isolated from the spy. If you're on shotgun, you can dispatch him pretty well. If you're on rescue ranger, which is actually the most useful in this position because you can jump back and forth, you can kill him, but it's more likely that you'll be able to blow him up with the wrangler like this. But I would recommend, if you're gonna go run rescue ranger, find like opportunities to mix up your gun spots, because it makes you that much more dangerous, right? I've always said, even when I was like a beginner, like the best gun is the one they don't expect, because that's the one they'll actually die to. They're never going to die to a gun that they know where it is, at least, most of the time.
Right.
And yeah, once the like push is over, you can like jump back over here, and if you're on rescue ranger, you can just place it back wherever you prefer. So that's kind of how I like to play Swiftwater second, but lots of engineers will just stick with one spot. Just kind of up to you what you want to do. So as to answer your question as to where you can build your gun if it goes down, if your gun dies and their team is in, and you can't like just place a gun back, like if you place a gun here, it's just gonna blow up. I would probably do something like place a gun here, and this is a little wonky. The reason that I place it here is that it does have the potential to get kills on players that are pushing the cart, as well as players that are like inattentive players that are pushing into the apps. You can do good damage and potentially pick up kills, especially on stuff like scouts or heavies that are already low. So that's one option. It's unlikely to die here, and if you're still alive, you can farm metal off the dispenser or on the pack below. Another option, if you're on the floor, is like down here. This is fine. Like back here behind the truck, over here on the floor, just like whatever is fine, because you'll be able to deny the cart with it. One thing about this is that snipers will pick you off if they see you from the tunnel, but just kind of sometimes you just can't get into apps, and if that's the case, then this is fine. Do those spots seem viable for like, okay, I'm just kind of pre-building my gun for a second? Hello?
Sorry. What was that?
So I was just like, what do you think? Like, do these spots answer your question? Like, I could potentially pre-build here if okay, cool. Yeah, I just wanted to because I would say there's no really good option for pre-building on this point. Your gun, once it dies, it's probably dead for the push. But those are probably where I would go to start. And that's kind of Swiftwater second. Do you have any questions about Swiftwater second defense?
No, this is more of a general one. If I don't have a need to quickly like build something because I'm already like fully set up and whatever, is it fine to just go to the Southern Hospitality or like Stock Ranch?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't use the Southern Hospitality. I guess you could if you wanted. Like, if that's your favorite ranch, go for it. I personally feel it's a little obsolete. But, yeah, Southern Hospitality is a fine choice. The ranch is a good choice overall. For my money, and this is like a small preference, I like the Eureka effect a little more than the wrench. Even though it has the metal downside, it's very nice to be able to replace teleporters or just get to the exit when I need to. had plenty of escapes that way. Like, oh, my whole team got blowed up, but I managed to live, and I'm in mansion now. Instead of like, and also the gate closed on me, I can escape this way and be alive for the next point. So that's just kind of like, I like the utility that it brings, and I'm willing to trade the metal downside for it over the wrench. But the wrench is good, and I would say that, like, if your general question is like, can I use this instead of the Jag? The answer is definitely yes, and there's many benefits to starting on the wrench or Eureka effect or Southern Hospitality. Key being that you can knock sappers off with just 2 whacks instead of 3. That downside that they introduced is will make the difference pretty often.
Okay.
The Jag is still a good option for defense too, though. Lots of engineers like it. Okay, move on.
I've just found it, like, at least on last on upward is just so much more easier to tank a wrangled gun with stock compared to Jag.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's the heals are also a pretty noticeable difference.
Yeah.
I don't really. I can't think of the last time that I used the Jag on payload defense myself. Maybe in like like if I'm preparing for like a last sack on vigil last. But overall, I just prefer the stock or the Eureka. Anyway, let's move on to third. So if your whole team gets nuked on second, which will happen very often, and your team still has long spawns, like they're not spawning in 2 seconds, they're spawning in 12 seconds, then your callers should ideally call, okay, go forth. Like, we're not gonna, and at this point I would personally switch out the Rescue Ranger. We're not gonna like just sack onto third in like a last resort defense, because there's no point. Their team is gonna roll into third and spawn camp us. If that happens, of course, just go forth. Don't try to go third. Don't be like the hero. If you guys call to like play third and you're still kind of on the back foot, like you're still getting a couple spawners, I would recommend placing your initial gun here. This very passive gun can be useful for receiving people feeding into the bunker. This whole area is called the bunker, by the way. If I ever say a call that doesn't make sense to you, let me know, okay, and I'll explain it. But it's pretty good at receiving players that just show up in the bunker, as well as killing players that try to like wrap around from locker, and helps just consolidate the space in front of your spawn from getting camped as they approach third. After your team has kind of obtained more space in the bunker, because I assume your team is going to play bunker. There are 2 ways that your team can play, and I'll keep this short. They can play in the bunker and swing out when necessary, not just stand in the bunker, swing out when necessary. Or they can play up top to receive blue sooner. The bunker is preferred in general by higher level players, or higher level teams rather, because it's just better to leverage the natural advantages of defense. But anyway, I'm gonna assume that your team is playing bunker. Otherwise, you can put your gun up here or over here. Anyway, so this spot is fine for consolidating space in front of your spawn. This spot is very popular among engineers as like a long sight line. What the hell? That's strange. This is pretty popular as a long sight line to shoot the players in main as well as clear the cart. I personally don't like it much. Remember that your role as engineer on this point is to clear little shitties off the cart, right? You want to prevent like little scouts or little spies from just capping the cart when your team's not looking. And this is especially true on third when your team is playing in bunker. I personally like to put a gun here, which is a little more aggressive and sees the actual point. Even here is fine in my opinion because it sees the back of the cart a little more. But I mean, this is fine too. This isn't like bad by any measure. If you could even no, I would not recommend keeping it here if your team has reasonable space. You just really, it doesn't matter as much where you put the gun on this point. Just be aware that it's your role as NG to keep the cart, to kill the stuff on cart. It might be your heavy or your soldier's role to stand on the cart to prevent it from rolling over, but it's your role to actually kill them. So those are some of the gun spots you can use. Dispenser, I usually see it here. This is where I put it. Helps your team. Just a very team helpful dispenser. My mentee actually showed me this, where you can put it in locker, and the spy can no longer leave locker, which is kind of nice, because he can't like. It's not as much as it won't be as common as him entering through locker, where he's slowed down quite a bit, and anyone that sees him will blow him up. So that's an option as well. Other stuff you can do. Something that I like to do, and you don't have to do this, is let's say that the cart is very close, like it's here, and your team is like kind of getting ready to leave to fourth because like, okay, well, it's kind of inevitable they push it at this point. Then what you can do is you can move your sentry over here. And this is a little crazy, but the reason that this is kind of good is that it shoots the opposite side of the cart where the scout and the FOSS heavy and the spy are going to try to push the cart over the edge. And your gun is so prepared to kill them like in the minimum time possible. Because they're not expecting it here either. So this can be useful, and especially you can leave to fourth as soon as they cap it, or your team blows up. You can leave to fourth immediately with it much faster than you could by walking through spawn. So that's nice. So that's an option that you have. You could also, if your team is just leaving and you have a gun, you could just like drop your gun over here next to Kool-Aid and get kills on like players that are unaware of it. It can pick you up like a double, triple kill more often than you might expect. But in general, just playing in the bunker is where you'll spend most of the time, and that's perfectly fine. Just try to do what you can to place guns that keep players off the cart.
Gotcha.
So fourth kind of a bland point, I would say, for engineer. You have some advanced options, but the basic options are putting the gun here in ball pit, which is this just this whole area, right? The gun that I place is going to be here. It's just going to point at the wall at this position, but by aligning the top of the gun's built blueprint with the wall in front of it, you can guarantee that the barrels will just barely peek over the top when will just barely peek over the top when it reaches level 3 and maybe level 2. See, the guns are starting to peek over. Actually, they peek over just right, and peek over a little better now. But just kind of like a little NG gimmick that I like to employ for this point. It's a little useful. So that's kind of where the gun will go most of the time. The reason that's really close is that it kind of disables the sniper from peeking it through this window. If you place it farther back, this is fine as well, and it will die to the demo less. But just be aware that the sniper will shoot it, and you're kind of introducing this new source of damage to your gun. That's not kind of all I have. The dispenser goes like here up on the shield. If you can't put it on the shield for whatever reason, you can't cross, your team doesn't have control of it, then you can just drop it down here. That's fine. Additionally, if you want to pre-build your gun, you can just do it here at the bottom of the ball pit. That will kill like random soldiers bombing in looking for kills on players that are staging. So that can be nice. You should be aware that one very common strategy is for soldiers to high bomb and land on this like catwalk, and then go inside to this like lobby area and farm the packs and stuff. The packs already down here, but farm packs, get healthy, and then come back in, just drop down on your medic and blow them up. Very common. Be aware of it. This gun pretty good at like just blasting the soldier back. but you just want to be aware of that. Spies love to. You're pretty vulnerable to spy on this point because your team wants to all be looking forward. They want to be on the grass, but you're going to be back in the ball pit. And spy has some great decloak spots. You can decloak up on this roof, but especially you can decloak here and in here, and then just drop down on unsuspecting targets. So be a suspecting target instead, and watch out for the spy. And because like the second that their team is coming in and you're like trying to wrangle or whatever, that's when the spy is going to strike. Other than that, do what you can to not peek the sniper. This is a very good point for blue sniper if he gets control of garage, which he should if blue team has hands. And be aware that when the cart gets over to this this caution tape slope, that it's on you as it is for most points to, let's say that like a shitty little scout ran over and now he's hiding from the gun by standing behind the cart. Since he's pinned to the cart, it's pretty simple for you to walk over and two-shot him. So but like you have to react in time. You're a little slow, so just keep your eye on the HUD and make sure you're reacting when the cart is moving forward.
Gotcha.
What you have to be aware of is that heavies in modern day, they love I don't know if they used to do this, but they love this head glitch. This head glitch is like the holy grail of heavy on Swiftwater. And you're going to see every heavy and his mom like get a 450 buff and peek this this head glitch to shoot your gun. You can throw some damage back at him with a wrangle, but mostly he is just head glitching, right? So it's not as easy to shoot him, and you should typically just tank your gun in that situation as opposed to trying to kill that guy. Leave that to like your demo. If your team calls to play yard, I don't think this will happen, but I'll cover it briefly. If your team calls to play yard, pick up your gun. Probably like here is fine. Your goal is to stop people from like just running in and picking players in the yard. Because if your team's playing yard, they're trying to keep the sniper out of garage. You can deny bombers with this spot. You can deny like scouts running in. You can deny the heavy peeking this corner. And additionally, when your team leaves yard, because it's not like a static position, it's more dynamic, then you can easily pick it up and leave wide and place it back in a standard spot. And that's kind of Swiftwater fourth. Like I said, a little bland. You kind of do a lot of standing around and just spy checking. So last, this is one of Engineer's strongest points because of, you guessed it, this spot up here.
Yeah.
This gun spot is one of the best in the game, or in the map pool at least. Extremely powerful. Every blue player is going to be looking to kill this gun, and every engineer is going to be looking to build this gun. So this gun is really good because it can deny Ubers coming from paint over here, and like map room, what I call map room. Some players call this IT. Some players will just call it right. Can deny Ubers left and right, and super good at killing players trying to push the cart across this long stretch of tracks. Really good at like aim punching snipers and blowing them up when they try to peek you. Just really versatile gun spot, and it's at this crazy high ground that they can't assault. Very good gun. So you have a couple options for your dispenser. You can put your dispenser like in this corner, and this is where I recommend you put it. Just useful for your medic really, and like your heavy when he needs to grab ammo, although this box is going to be more typical. If you want, you can place your dispenser here as a little more protection against spy, and leave your medic to use the packs. Not a bad option. Personally, the defense that I like to employ against spy when I have this gun spot is to do weirdo stuff like, I like to do this. I stand on this fence. If you're up on this fence, you're a little more vulnerable to sniper because you can't block him with your gun as easily. You kind of have to maneuver a little more carefully. But, he can't stab you here, period. Best you can do is decloak and 3-shot you, but if he's decloaking on you before sapping your gun, then you can look at him and blow him up. And if he decloaks on your gun, saps it, and then 3-shots you, then it's kind of on you. Otherwise, if you want to play on the ground like a normal guy and like use the gun to block the sniper shots, then just be very aware of the spy. The spy's primary goal, more than kill the medic in most situations, is going to be kill the engineer and sap his gun up here. So you have to be looking all of the time for this guy. Especially when you wrangle and start shooting at the target that you can kill. That's when he will decloak and kill you. Sometimes you'll just have to give up kills in order to spy check properly, and that is like the correct way of playing, in my opinion. Other spots that you can use. So like if you want to pre-build, if your dispenser's over here, it can be nice to build here. Still does a good job of denying players from pushing the cart, and pretty easy to just farm metal off this pack, farm metal off the dispenser, and build it up. And then when their team dies, then you can move it up top again. I don't think you can do this, but yeah, you can't do that. You can do that, but that sucks. So that spot's fine. You could put it like, I wouldn't put it here actually. And if the card is very close, something you can do as kind of a mix-up play is you can pick up the gun and put it behind one of the barrels. Left is fine, right barrels is also fine. Personally, if you're going for cart denial, this right side gun, right side from their perspective, is going to be a little better, because this is the scary side where they spawn, and this is the less dangerous side where there might be a heavy above them. So players will usually gravitate over here, especially if the heavy's dead, and if they do, oh, they got blowed up. But this also very good, because usually the scout or the spy will just be in a position to where especially the scout will just cross, trying to go to the cart and not notice the gun and get killed. But in kind of a mix-up play, I would say that classes like soldier and heavy are better standing there and doing that than the sentry gun is.
Right.
And in general, when you have time to do so, build the gun up top. This is it's nice. And once you pick up some kills on that gun, you better switch to FJ. Like, it's worth it. I mean, unless you're going to lose the point because they pushed it while you weren't wrangling, then it wasn't worth it. But otherwise, the Frontier Justice can tilt the defense even further in your favor.
Gotcha.
One thing to be aware of is like demos in frustration will sometimes just like lob projectiles through these windows at your gun. Do what you can to preserve your life. They're not going to be very well aimed because he can't really see the gun. He's just kind of like going off hit sounds. So just like look at the projectile, kite it out. The medic can't really reach you as easily. And especially since the demo is here, the demo is about to Uber out this door. So your medic has to focus on that. So do what you can to preserve your health and keep taking your gun. You probably don't have to wrangle for that unless he's like, he's laying sticks on it or whatever, but I've never seen that before. And you can just like whack it with your wrench. Do you have any questions about Swiftwater defense in general?
No, I think covered all of it.
Sweet. Okay, we'll go over offense now. Should be a little quicker. So your role on offense is to push the cart. Very exciting job. But there's some nuance. Once you spawn, try to put your entrance over here. It's going to get blown up, but whatever. You might as well try, because you're going to place it there anyway later. And then once you're on the cart, just start spy checking. Especially to go here, in this corner. Sometimes up here, you'll see them. Like they'll stand here on the far side, so that people will just walk past them. I think they can stand up here, in this corner, in this bush. And then once you push the cart a little further, the spies like to stand in this light. The reason they're up on these spots is for info, right?
Yeah.
The spy can stand on these awnings. And on these shutters, you can just barely stand. We'll see if I can pull it off. Yeah, and you can stand the second one too, but I'm just gonna fall off. And one thing to watch out for a little bit, once you've pushed the cart up to the caution tape, what some teams will do, and my team like to do this as well, is this is actually quite a nice chokehold for red to contest the card at if they're going to do so. So what red may do is they will have their scout, soldier, and potentially heavy set up here in setup time and just hide here. And then once blue goes to push the cart with their lone little engineer, maybe a scout, then these players will flood out the door, land on the unsuspecting blue players, blow them up, and now the cart is right back here. Pretty good because blue flank might say, like the blue engineer might cry, the red scout and soldier are in house, and the combo doesn't even like, they're so fixated on what they're already doing that they don't even react or like think about it. So blue engineer just like walks back up and gets killed, and the cart makes no progress. If you encounter this, do what you can to rope your soldier and scout and maybe like your heavy over to help you, because realistically they're not doing much at this stage in the first offense. And just play your if you can get up here and play these packs, that's going to help you quite a bit. But generally, since you have the cart to heal you, you will be able to win that despite the slight height disadvantage.
Okay.
And also, you'll have the advantage of being engineer, where their engineer is not present. So it's kind of easier to receive them. Anyway, keep pushing the cart. Once it gets up here, their sniper should be sniping you. Stuff like gimmicks that I like to do, I'll just punch the cart to move my head hitbox a little bit. Like just move it back and forth and make it harder for him to hit me. But really, you should just try to get cap time as your team is present. Like, okay, like your demo's up on the roof, your soldier's up on the roof, your heavy is like kind of crossing the log and pressuring players out from this house. There's, as long as your team is contesting this grassy area, which they should be doing by default, then it's pretty safe for you to start getting some cap time. And the primary stopper of you is going to be the sniper. Your Fist of Steel heavy can come stand on cart and do a lot of work there. Your sniper might come, and if he comes to take the SVS over here, then you should kind of prioritize playing on him than pushing the cart. And the reason for that is that once the red sniper dies, then you can go push cart with very little opposition. But pushing the cart, in general, not a hard task. Just be aware of the red sniper, is all I'm trying to say. Once you get first, make sure your teleporter entrance is up and place it. Just place it around apps. I put it like here. One of my mentees showed me this spot, which is like, this seems like it could be optimal. But in general, just like try to prevent it from being super campable. So you have a couple options. You can. So I would say that the standard option is push the cart. Like push the cart. You should do this in 80% of scenarios. And once the cart gets to like here-ish, then you're just gonna start to play sniper centric. And your sniper is gonna be playing tunnel if he's playing smart. And just you can stand behind him. You should have like a mini around here to prevent like a scout soldier from running at him. And then you should start checking for spy back here, in this corner, just like on his back, looking for a decloak. Just spend time like preventing stuff from getting on your sniper while he looks for a key pick, because a key pick through the tunnel can open up the entire second defense in some scenarios. Sometimes your sniper will be playing apps for whatever reason. That is not optimal. But in that situation, I would still say that it's pretty solid to play in tunnel and prevent stuff from getting through. You can even, if your scout soldier are trying to mount like a mini push through side tunnel, you can help out with that. But in general, try to like focus on protecting your sniper here in the tunnel. The other option that you have is that if your team is employing the sort of advanced push that I outlined earlier, and your like blue combo is here in the tunnel, and your heavy and potentially soldier are up in the apps, then your pyro can spend time defending the sniper as well as the rest of your combo can defend your sniper. And you have the option of going to support your heavy up here in the apps when your team pushes through. And so this can be good. You can be a useful like +1 to get kills and just kind of like say your heavy takes the HVH, you can turn the tide just with 100 damage, 50 damage, because the heavy damage exchange is going to be so close. And there are other situations where they just aren't expecting a +1 to push through the flank, and you can get kills that way. But it's an option that you have. I would say that even if your combo is in tunnel, if your sniper is doing stuff like, hey, I want to push side tunnel, and this is in all scenarios, if your sniper wants to push side tunnel, it's on you to sort of help him get a little control of side tunnel to look for that key pick on the medic. You should not walk out here if the red scout soldier are alive, because they'll kill you without a second thought. And even if you're standing inside, they have a huge advantage on killing you. So just try to consolidate the space that you can for your sniper, and keep the spy off him, of course, so that he can take the 1-2 shots that he needs to open up the point, and then try to be okay, hey, we should leave because their scout soldier are alive, and they're just gonna walk in and kill us. So that's one reason that you might not want to go flank, but I'm just pointing out that it is one thing you can do. Your team also may do the, like I mentioned before, just ram their heads through shutter on repeat. And if that happens, then just stay tunnel and help your sniper, or help your flank if your sniper is playing apps. And then I would recommend, I wouldn't focus on pushing cart until you win second, half their team is dead and your team is alive and well. Then you can go push the cart, because otherwise you'll just get blown up by sticks or sniped from spawn or something. If your demo calls to push through tunnel and you're in tunnel, and you're let's say the spy is dead, so he can't stab the sniper, then like I said, push through the tunnel with your demo, drop a mini wherever. There's fine. Over here, also fine. Try to get a little damage, kill players on the floor if there's any, and then once you win, push the cart.
Cool.
So third, after you cap second, push the cart up to around here where the concrete transitions to dirt. After that, the sniper will just kind of pick you off, but once you push it here, then what you'll want to do is, in general, your role is to defend your sniper and support your soldier up here in the window, in this hallway. This is the window being this window. This is sniper. This is kind of where your sniper starts to salivate, right? This is very, very powerful position for him. But the thing is, the red soldier, this is also a good position on the other side, where he has all these awnings to work with, he has this pack to work with, and he has the silos that he can stand on and get bows on. So your sniper is kind of looking for the space through this soldier to get his key pick, and it's your soldier and you's job to support your sniper during that. And so for you, that is either when your soldier goes to fight, you should peek with him, shoulder peek the other soldier, do do your 50 damage shots or whatever, and help tilt the tides in your soldier's favor. Or even pick him off if your soldier gets some good damage in already. Otherwise, you are watching for the spy, who is going to be prioritizing a pick on your sniper. Those are really the only classes I would want to see in boiler from blue. So you're kind of like your own little hit squad. So do what you can with what you have. My mini will usually be here, and it's here because Red Scout is very bored on this point, and he will just like, okay, I'm gonna go for a play, and once he's like this, he can't do anything to this. This mini is unstoppable in his eyes. He can maybe pistol it, but you can just place another one down. Dispenser, I would usually just drop it here. It's kind of handy for your soldier to have. Like, he has this pack to work with, but like once he jumps back up, he'll maybe appreciate the extra 30 top off that you can provide with a dispenser there. Your sniper too doesn't want to walk down to get that pack. And yeah, that's kind of it's a little straightforward. This is where you should spend your time. Beware of spies coming from apps in this corner. They might do some weird stuff like stand on these railings. And just keep, or like stand on your dispenser if they're feeling bold. But other than when the spy, if you're not worried about the spy, just like shoulder peek the soldier. I would not recommend walking out and trying to meet him, because he will blow you up with 2 rockets. Oops. He'll blow you up with 2 rockets, and you won't accomplish much. Unless you're like sacking strategically to give your soldier an advantage as he fights, which could work, but preserving your life will generally be the better option. And then once your team is clearly winning, or like in a crucial post where your team got a better Uber and now red team is suffocating in their own bunker, that's when you're going to want to like just find this opportunity, right? That's when you want to drop down and start pushing this cart wherever it may be, pushing it forward until it crosses the finish line. And your scout should also kind of be on that, but it's your role as well. You know, there's no reason to like pocket your sniper if your team is if you can win the objective otherwise.
Right.
That's third. So fourth, once you cap third, place your new entrance down here and blow up your exit. Don't switch to. I wouldn't switch to Jag yet. You can if you want, but it's not what I recommend. Not for fourth. So I would push the cart, at least here. If you're encountering a strong team, they may try to hold forward on this slope, otherwise known as Normandy, and like lock your team into this choke, which is pretty brutal. And if that happens, don't try to like push the choke on your own. Just like what your role is in general is more than push the cart up the slope, which your combo will do naturally as they walk up the slope. You can go to the garage and support your sniper. Say, a gun anywhere is fine. A gun here might slow the spy down. But your goal is to stand around, protect your sniper in the garage. Very very straightforward. Just keep 2 eyes peeled for the spy. A few corners for him to stand in, but not crazy. It's quite easy for him to cross, however. So once your combo is like, let's say the spy dies and like your combo just exchanged, and now it's like post, right? And your team has the space that they need on Normandy. Like, let's say, oh, my heavy is getting to the head glitch spot in a post. Like, that means that you guys have great space here. And so what you should do in general is leave your sniper through the shutter or wherever else and walk up to the cart and start pushing it. And I would place a mini here, wide. Your team, in general, no player should ever try to go through this choke. Not that you would, given your position in garage. But this choke is one of the biggest, like, noob traps in Highlander. It's just a terrible, terrible place to try to walk through as blue. So put your mini wide and push the cart. I'm just going to chill behind the cart, try to push it up. And ideally, your team is also wide with you They're not trying to go through this horrible choke. They're wide with you controlling this space between the ball pit and the cart so that you can safely push the cart up, and anyone walking up to assault you just gets blowed up. Watch out for spy. More often than you might expect, you'll see spies decloaking on this fence, whether it's over here where they have a little cover, or even back here where people just aren't expecting them. Spies will just decloak behind you and get the stab off and farm a little more time off the cart. So keep an eye on your back, and spies will also sometimes decloak up here, or like even back here. That's fourth. If you wanted to run leveled guns on this point, you could. Your strategy doesn't change much, but I'd probably just like. We'll see if I can make it in this window, but I'd probably just place the gun inside this shutter and wrangle it at like a scout soldier that are standing around a yard, assuming that they're even there. That's probably how you could get value out of a leveled gun. But then the reason that you really want a leveled gun is for fifth. Fifth, again, while it is not super interesting, it is a pretty good point for a blue engineer, because what you'll do is first, after you cap fourth, you'll push the cart, and usually get the cart like down here if they're very aggressive, or up to the switch box if you're able to. At this point, you should either go back to spawn and switch to Jag, or you can already be on Jag, or wrench if you prefer, but Jag is a little better for offense. So you'll place your exit like here, or like in this corner, just wherever is fine. Place a dispenser if you like around here, and then pretend this is level 3. Place your gun like around here, and that's just a pre-build spot. What you're looking for, and this will take a pretty good deal of patience, is you're looking for your team to execute the start of a successful Swiftwater last push, so that you can consolidate all the space on the low ground and ball pit as your team is pushing the cart into the final objective. And so what that means is when your team has exchanged and now they're posting, once they're posting, you pick up your gun, drop it like around here. You can be here, it can be back here, wherever works best for you. Drop your gun and wrangle. And as your blue players are dropping down from their post onto the cart, or just walking up to the tracks if your flank was playing garage or whatever, then red players one by one are going to drop down and try to contest the cart, and your gun is the best thing in the game besides maybe demo at killing them immediately. Red players dropping down don't have cover. The best that they have is standing behind these barrels where you can shoot rockets at the floor and damage them till they die. Just a very, very powerful position for engineer. Spies know it too, and so this spy is going to be decloaking up here, decloaking back here, decloaking, kind of a repeat of the fourth defense, right? Red spy is going to be decloaking, looking for the pick on you. And once the pick comes out, the gun is sapped, it's gone. So be very aware of spy between trying to win while you're trying to win the map. Do what you can to watch for spy. And if for some reason, for example, the gun back here doesn't see the hole as much, but if you place it farther up, then you can place it here. And then if your team is just dying before they drop down, or they're just otherwise not dropping down, you do have the option of walking up and pushing the cart yourself. But the reality is that you will just die, as does every other class on either team does when they get on the cart, and then the spy will sap your gun with no resistance. So I mean, you can weigh the cost benefit. Obviously, if you the engineer can push the cart and win the game, then you should take that opportunity. But most of the time, it doesn't pan out as simple as that. But like I said, it'll take a pretty good deal of patience because, especially on lower div teams, it takes a long time to execute a successful Swiftwater last push. There's a lot of things that can go wrong, and sometimes your teams will break down completely.
Alright. Duly noted.
Anyway, yeah, that's honestly it for fifth. I would like to say like, yeah, get into the garage and like make a play, but in my experience, nothing is as effective as using this gun in the ball pit.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have any questions about Swiftwater, Highlander, or Engineer before I let you go at 1:10 a.m.?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. Cool, man. Thanks for bearing with me. I know I said I'd message you Thursday.